This guy was one of the most feared enforcers in NHL history, and because of indirect reasons, he became part of one of the biggest copyright lawsuits in American publishing history, which almost brought down one of the most important artists of his era. Of course, we have to be talking about the pride of Sherwood Park, Alberta, not Ontario, Tony Twist. Now, Tony Twist, born May 9th, 1968, 6'1", 265. Some days he looked about 270. First came to prominence with the Prince George Spruce Kings of the PCJHL in 1986. Had 52 points in 42 games and 162 minutes in penalties. Now, he continued in the juniors in 87-88, 8 points in 64 games in 87, 181 minutes in penalties. Now, 1988, last year was Saskatoon, 9 points in 55 games, including 226 minutes in penalties. Ironically, he was drafted by St. Louis, 177th overall. Now, this probably ranks as one of the most interesting drafts in NHL history, because over two major junior seasons, he only had one goal, but over 400 minutes in penalties. Now, after being sent to the Peoria Rivermen for seasoning in 1989, when he had 312 minutes in penalties, he finally made the big club in 1990 with 124 minutes in penalties in 28 games. Now, he split time again with Peoria over 2 seasons, then found himself with the very rugged Quebec Nordiques in the 91 season, where he had 104 penalty minutes in 24 games. 92, 164 penalty minutes in 44 games. 93, 64 penalty minutes in 34 games. 94 with the Nordiques again. Then found himself back with St. Louis. Over 5 seasons, he averaged less than 150 minutes per season, but again, his legend as an enforcer was quite strong. Now, to say he was feared would be an understatement. It wasn't his height, but his size. Now, Twist eventually penned a foreword to the Ross Bernstein book, The Code, The Unwritten Rules of Fighting and Retaliation in the NHL. Now, he also owned a chain of bars named Twister's Iron Bar Saloon, with locations in St. Charles and Imperial, Missouri. Now, he's also been a radio star, as he co-hosted the Smash and Twist show on 590 The Fan in St. Louis. Now, again, when he was selected by St. Louis, the time with the Nordiques, he became kind of a legendary, kind of a Quebecois enforcer. Now, when he became a free agent in '94, he decided to re-sign with the Blues. However, a motorcycle accident limited his playing time, and he was unable to resume his NHL career. Now, he was known for his devastating punches, and he battered many of the league's top enforcers during his career. Now, this is where it gets really, really, really complicated. Now, Todd McFarlane at the time was one of the most important artists in the Marvel Universe, and he did artwork on Spider-Man, on the different Spider-Man titles. He eventually created the very popular comic book series Spawn. Now, in the series, where it's basically satanic forces and mafia and different low-life characters that are profiled, McFarlane decided to create a mob enforcer character called Antonio Tony Twist Twistelli, who McFarlane acknowledged was named after Tony Twist. Now, when Twist learned about the character through his mother in BC, who had a group of boys arrive at her house with a Tony Twist related Spawn items in '97, he visited the Spawn animated series that had earlier aired. He viewed the Spawn series that earlier aired on HBO from May to June '97, and he subsequently remarked, "I am in a pink thong underwear smoking a cigar, ordering the kidnapping of a child while 2 women are naked on the couch making love to each other." He said, "I obviously didn't want any part of that. Even if I was a good guy, I wouldn't have participated. You got kids being kidnapped, you got nudity, you got police raping women. It's nothing I want to be affiliated with." On Halloween Day, October 31st, '97, Twist filed an anonymous John Doe lawsuit against Todd McFarlane Productions and related parties such as HBO for appropriation of his name without permission. The lawsuit was filed anonymously in order to keep publicity surrounding it to a minimum. He was initially awarded, get this, ladies and gentlemen, $24 million. by a St. Louis, Missouri judge in 2000. Sean Phillips, a former executive of Sports Nutrition Company, testified for Twist, stating that he withdrew a $100,000 endorsement deal only after learning about the despicable nature of the Tony Twist character. However, the $24 million ruling would be reversed in November of 2000, with McFarlane joking to journalists, "He's got to return that yacht now." The trial continued, and Twist later won $15 million in 2004, when a St. Louis jury found Todd McFarlane Productions had profited from Twist's likeness. The verdict was upheld after 2 appeals in June 2006. In 2007, Twist and McFarlane settled a lawsuit out of court for $5 million. Now, Twist reflected on the lawsuit in a 2020 interview, saying, "I did not despise Todd in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. He thought this was a First Amendment issue where he had the right to do whatever. I tend to agree. If anybody uses my name for a character in any, and I'm still alive, and I'm such a public domain, when I become a public figure, but I'm not a public domain figure, I would have a problem with that." So, final NHL totals: 445 games, 10 goals, 18 assists for 28 points, 1,121 minutes and penalties, and in 18 playoff games, a goal and assist for 2 points in 22 minutes and penalties. Now, ironically, his penalty minutes per game went down significantly after he left Quebec, but he never really played a full season, and sometimes was what he called a scratch in key situations. But I know one thing: the Quebec teams in the early 90s, they had a lot of significance, and Twist was part of that. But back with St. Louis, that's where it became kind of a folk hero, because he looked like an enforcer. Even though I can count on one hand all the major fights he had, because if you look at the stats, he couldn't have fought more than once a game because the stats don't bear it out. Like I said, some games he didn't fight, and some games he basically had a regular shift. And, being a left winger on St. Louis at the time, they had a very talented team. So for him to get as much ice time he did, especially with the mid-1970 teams, is quite significant anyway. So ladies and gentlemen, that's our Tony Twist podcast. We're leading into the new year. Happy 2021. Give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And if you have any thoughts on the legacy of Tony Twist, please pass it on. Have a good day. Bye.